Om Shakti.
Shakti.
Today we will discuss the concept of the 9 forms of Mother Durga. Now she is called Navadurga. Nava means, like we mentioned in our previous discourses, means 9 as well as new. So the concept that the energies in the world is never the same. The energies of Shakti is always changing in fact is Navadurga is the 9 types of energy that Mother Shakti has that is able to destroy or remove a negative quality that is within each one of us. So these 9 nights are celebrated to represent the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. They celebrated to represent femininity. They represent the pathway to victory, which is an orderly form of how we become victorious in our life. And then we look at Navadurga, which also depicts this pathway of, first of all, having a desire to become spiritual, to become one where your higher self actually conquers the instinctive qualities of the lower self. The lower self that you have of anger, hatred, greed, these are often instinctive, they are often habitual, they are reflex orientated type of things that happen. You don't even understand why you became angry sometimes or why you reacted in a particular way. So we find there's these nights, 9 nights, each one is dedicated to a particular deity. So on the first night, it is dedicated to Durga in the form of Shailaputra. Shailaputri is her name, and Shaila represents that which is always soaring up. So maybe you can enlighten us about what this particular form of us means.
So this particular form of Mother Durga, Shailaputri, literally meaning the daughter of the mountain. Shailam meaning the mountain. And this really represents the kind of steadfastness that we need to have, the kind of absolute firmness like a mountain. We say that something is immovable like a mountain. When we do something incredible, we say it is like moving mountains.
Our ignorance could be likened to the enormity of a mountain.
So this is all that is represented by the mountain. And this goddess Shailaputri teaches us about how we start this journey by wanting to rise to the peak of this mountain.
The second day is a day dedicated to her energies of infinity called Brahmacharini. Comes from the word Brahma or Brahman, which means infinite. So Brahmacharini, what does that tell us? Why do we celebrate that on the second day?
Because this is the supreme that is celebrated by or signified by Brahman. Brahmacharini, the one who is all encompassing of that Brahman and always moving towards that Brahman. So that supreme absolute consciousness is the real goal that we are soaring towards.
So it is said in our Shastra that when we touch the source of infinity, like that which we have in deep sleep, when we are in deep sleep, we have some idea of coming into contact with that consciousness, because there is no body. When we're in deep sleep, there is no senses, there is no mind. So we come into contact with that consciousness, and therefore it is so restful, it is so peaceful. So Brahmacharini, just tapping into that infinite, can resuscitate and reinvigorate all our energies. So on the third day, we celebrate Chandragata. And what is this dedicated to?
The goddess Chandraganta has 2 symbols associated with the Chandram, the moon, and Gantam, the bell. So the moon is always associated with our mind. Our mind is something that only reflects, just like the moon only reflects the light of the sun. Our mind only reflects the knowledge that we put into it. So if we have an agitated mind, if we have a mind that is very restless, it is because we have not put the right knowledge. And the mind is only the reflection of that which we put in. So we have to be very careful about what we put in. Just like the bell symbolizes the sound of creation, the sound of auspiciousness. And that is the kind of knowledge that we want to put into our mind, that it can reflect in every aspect of our lives.
So a beautiful mind is where our world is, isn't it? Our world does not really exist outside of ourselves. Our real world is what is within ourselves. So it is in our mind that we are imprisoned, or it is in our mind that we are liberated, isn't it? So the beautiful mind of represented by Chandraganta tells us this. The fourth day is dedicated to Kushmandam. And Kushmandam is the entire Purnam of pranic energy, the completeness of pranic energy. Tell us about that.
Goddess Kushmanda is considered to be the mother of this entire universe because of what you mentioned, that the absolute completeness of everything. In addition to that, Goddess Kushmanda is associated with the symbol of the pumpkin. As we understand that the pumpkin is a part of nature which contains the highest amount of pranic energy, and that is energy that enlivens us on various different levels. So when we use this pumpkin in various celebrations or rituals like a new business, a new car, a new home, because we want that level of energy to be infused into every single thing we do. And this is the concept associated with Kushmanda.
The next day, the fifth day, is dedicated to the energies of a mother. And he is given the name Skanda Mata. And Skanda is the name of Lord Murugan or Kartikeya. And tell us about Skanda Mata.
Skanda Mata, we see her depicted with Lord Muruga or Skanda sitting on her lap. Skanda is the leader of the army of gods. He is the god who is the presiding deity of our mind, and we want to be able to control our mind. We want to be able to lead our mind in the right direction, like leading an army that fights against every challenge that we may face in life. But the power of that only comes from this Divine Mother, from the divine energy that gives birth to this entire universe.
The sixth day is dedicated to Katyayani, and Katyayani has been described as the most ferocious form of Shakti because she represents the seer, the witness of all creation. She represents that awareness that we need to develop. Tell us a little more about that.
So what we need when we want to become aware, what we need when we want to rise or raise our consciousness, raise our level in life in whatever way we may think, is this level of fierceness, this level of fierce dedication to what we want to do, a ruthless type of energy that will cut out anything that takes us away from our goal and only leave behind what is beneficial or what will support us in reaching our goal. That is why these forms of the mother in certain cases are portrayed in this absolutely fierce form, fiercely removing that which is absolutely not good for us.
The seventh night is dedicated to Navaraathri, and Navaraathri has been looked upon as that dark matter, the dark energy that pervades through the entire universe. Our scientists today tell us about that everything came from this dark matter, this dark energy that they cannot describe. Tell us how our Hindu Shastra tells us about this energy.
The symbology is absolutely amazing because Navaraathri is depicted in this black color, like the middle of the night. That is the color that is associated with her. She is absolutely dark, like this, where there is everything. It is not nothing. We cannot even see the concept of light in that. That is how it is so dark. And science shows us this in the concept of the black hole and all of this dark matter. And from there arises everything in creation, and we see her as a very active sort of form of the Divine Mother, who is also quite fierce, has many different weapons in her hand, because this is how creation starts, in a real, almost an orderly chaos. That is how it happens, and we must never be misled by the symbology of this to believe it in any negative form. But the symbology of Navaraathri linked to that concept of science of creation and how everything started and what everything will go back into.
So she's clad in white clothing, and Ratri means that which brings solace to the three stages of our being, three stages of our personality, that of the physical stage, that of the mental stage, and that of the causal or karmic influences that we bring. So, like you say, in the dark black portion of a murti, they have also the white garments that she wears, symbolizing that they are always intricately related. What we think are opposites are actually a composite or a union of the oneness of creation. So on the eighth night we worship Mahagauri, and Mahagauri is the form that is able to give us just about everything, because she is depicted as snow, like the whiteness of snow. Tell us about her.
Mahagauri is like when this Devi Katyayani, Skandamata, and Kalarathri has completed all their functions, and the greatness, the wonder of creation has settled into the beauty, into the absolute amazing universe that we see around us. In all this nature, the sky, the way things work, the sea is the fullness, the completeness of Mahagauri in its absolute pure form. And that is why we say that this is where you will find almost everything in that oneness of creation.
So finally, when we celebrate the ninth night, we celebrate it as Siddhidarthi, the name given to this form of Shakti. And this energy is the energy of perfection. How does this fit into, from starting with a desire to reach the peak in Shailaputri, how does it end with Siddhidarthi, the pursuit of the energies of perfection?
We start with where we know we want to go, but this kind of knowledge, this kind of understanding is in fact something that we cannot explain. It is beyond, and that is what Siddhas or Siddhis is. It is beyond the physical realm. They are kind of skill and energy that you get that is beyond just physical activity.
It is the powers of supernatural powers, isn't it? It is not
so supernatural. It is. So when you say supernatural, not like what we believe in ghost stories and those kind of things. Supernatural, like superhuman.
above the normal.
Above the normal. It is these kind of abilities that we didn't even know we were searching for this. But when you find that knowledge at the peak of this, you will find that it is even beyond what this simple finite mind can imagine.
But this is given to us as grace of God. It is not something that we can pursue, isn't it? It is something that comes from us performing noble action, Nishkama Karma. And that Nishkama Karma, by her grace, gives us these siddhas or these powers. And Krishna is believed to have had the full 16, and therefore he is called Purna Avatar. So I hope these 9 nights that we celebrate will bring about a certain amount of understanding of how we can harness these different types of energies of Mother Shakti, and thereby move from just a desire to a real realization of our true nature. Om Shakti.
Ra Shakti.